Oh, Jesus Christ, sorry guys, apologies for that, I didn't even realise my microphone was muted. But ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the ORT Esports Cup here for the Brazilian Grand Prix, of course, round number 6 on the calendar. My name is, of course, Ivor Bryn Mike, also known as Michael Edwards. Going to be taking you through the action around this fantastic circuit here tonight. Of course, we are seeing a couple of lap times coming in already as Mustache there set in the fastest lap so far with 107.7. But let's have a look at Brazil, the track in question. Of course, it's going to be 36 laps awaiting these drivers, 15 corners, 10 to the left and 5 to the right. Around this 4.3 kilometer circuit in length, and that is, of course, 2.677 miles. Of course, the Brazilian Grand Prix, a absolutely classic circuit on the calendar. A lot of fan favourites around this circuit, and of course, we could be seeing a lot of action coming through a lot of these corners. But before we go into things, just make sure that we have the standings and everything up so we can bring you through everything that has happened in recent weeks. So CPI currently lead the way on 177 points, with QVR in second place on 150, NLR Development in third on 144, with X Esports in fifth on 139. Just 5 points behind them is LRN Esports on 134. Of course, the only 5 teams so far to break the 100-point barrier. Then, of course, we go down to EPEC, currently on 70 points in 6th place. DKMN Esports on 65 points. IRT Esports on 56. ORT Esports on 53. And then, of course, we got VMV currently on 29 points for them, and I believe they have actually dropped out altogether, and we do have a brand new team in the works. I just want to quickly get that up. Yeah, ESPL, of course, a new team taking over the Williams F1 car. Of course, they do have a driver here tonight, and that is Ivan. Currently down in 14th place with a 109.4. As we'll quickly go through the teams as well, so you know which team's in what car. Of course, we do have the CPI Esports team currently in the Mercedes AMG F1 team. Of course, being driven by KGAT and Jamie, representing the CPI here tonight. DKMN Esports are in the Red Bull Racing Machine, being driven by Paulie Orange and, of course, not Rishi. The Scuderia Ferraris are being driven by the ORT Esports team, of course, being driven by the Ferry Campo and ORT Frank. As we have Wildstorm about to get us on a lap right now for Invictus Racing team, and of course he is one of the drivers representing them. The other driver to represent them tonight is Ho Joan. I know I've absolutely butchered that. I'm going to call him Jonin. That's all I'm going to do. I'm going to call him Jonin because I'm terrible when it comes to pronouncing names, guys. You all know that. QVR Esports are currently in the Alpine F1 car, of course, being run tonight by Matsu and QVR Verstappen. The Aston Martins are being driven by the NLR Development team, of course, Mustache and Maki in the Aston Martins representing NLR here tonight. The AlphaTauris are being represented by the EPEC team, Esports PEC, and they have Danny Connor driving for them tonight, along with Gonza Logic, who is already out of qualifying this time. The Alfa Romeos are being driven by the X Esports team, of course, being driven by Wild and Finley for X Esports here. The Haas F1 team are being driven by the LRN Esports pairing of Jerome and Martin, as Wildstorm improves on his lap time, goes up in the P7 with a 108 flat. Trying to make sure we jump on board with a driver that is at the end of his outlap so we can get a good a good full qualifying lap in. In fact, I'm going to go on board with QVR Verstappen. He's going to take us on a lap here of the Brazilian Grand Prix as we run down in towards turn number 1. So let's see how Verstappen gets on as we enter into the Senna S's here. Of course, very easy to lose the back end as we come through the left-hander of turn 3. DRS wide open as we run down in towards turn number 4. First sector split of a 16.8, a very decent first sector split for Verstappen, but I assume he'll be looking to go even quicker through the rest of the session as we climb up the hill through the double right-handers. And obviously now breaking down into the heart of the middle sector, as it is going to be incredibly difficult for Verstappen just to keep that car in check as we come through turn number 11 now as we head into turn 12. Jun Chao, and of course fourth gear, the gear of choice there for Verstappen. He's going to get a little bit of a tow as we climb up the hill towards the final corner, and that is of course from his teammate as Matt 2 comes off into the pit lane, but Verstappen crosses the line and it's going to be a front row position for the time being, and it is 107.6 for QVR Verstappen. A good lap from him. Currently on a lap, I believe we have Frank on a lap right now. So we'll see if Frank can improve in the middle sector for ORT here tonight. Currently down in P8. Can he get himself up the order? He's marching up as K-Gat there improves. 107.5 in the in qualifying here, and it is a fantastic lap there. As Mustache out of the session, you see him there at the top of turn 10 out of the session. Frank improves up ahead of his teammate into P7, but needs to find a bit more time if he wants to get further up the order. Trying to find someone on a valid run right now. We'll see, we got Verstappen into the pits. Jamie, is Jamie just coming to an end of a lap? It looks like he is. Purple in the middle sector for CPI Jamie. There's a CPI front row right now, but will Jamie get himself ahead of K-Gat here? To the line goes Jamie, and it is going to be provisional pole, and it's a 107.4 for the CPI driver. So we got Rishi on an out lap, we got Finley about to begin a lap, I believe, but yep, as he is about to cross the line to begin his flying lap. Coming down MP12, 108.2 for X Finley, the X Esports driver, as he comes through the Curva de Sol on to the DRS straight, heading down into the Cida de Lago, turn number 4 and 5. Fantastic there as we head up the hill towards Ferrajula as he throws the car in. Very decently done so far, and of course now into the middle sector, the meaty part of the middle sector, through 8, 9 and of course 10. As I believe turn 11, I'm not sure if I got the pronunciation right for this, but this left-hander here, Magello I believe it's called. I mean, I don't know, someone will have to correct me on that, but Jun Chao, turn number 12, breaking down the last breaking point on the circuit. But yeah, turn 11, someone will have to correct me with the pronunciation on that if I did get it wrong. But to the line will come Finley, and Finley will cross the line, and it's going to be a 107.8, a 3.5 tenth improvement from the X Esports. So gets himself ahead of both ORT drivers and puts him just behind his teammate there. As we got Drone, I believe, just finished the lap. Rishi has just finished the lap as well. Matt has gone off in the middle sector, coming up through Ferrajula, and looks like he's lost the back end. I'll tell you what, we're going to go on board with Wild right now Because Wild, I believe, is the next man who's going to be setting a competitive lap time. Does have a few cars in front of him, so could potentially get a little bit of a tow. Potentially, but no, he backed off completely. No tow for Wild here as he heads down the start-finish straight to begin his lap. Just over 4 minutes to go in the session. It's currently a CPI front row lockout with Jamie ahead of KGAT. And of course we got QVR Verstappen in P3 for the QVR team. And yeah, it looks like the Wild's already bailed out of his lap and not entirely happy with the preparation there for him. Ivan to the line right now. Is he going to be improving on his lap time? He's coming down in P17. It is a 4/10 improvement, but it doesn't improve any positions for him. Obviously, we got Matt still yet to set a lap time. We got Wild, who's on a cooldown lap. We got Danny Connor out there on an out lap right now. So let's see what Danny Connor can do. Currently in P4 right now, and definitely a very quick driver. Could be climbing himself up the order if this lap goes well. Needs to find around 2.5 temps if you want to be challenging Jamie at the front end of it. Let's see if Danny Connor can get this done. So here we go, Danny Connor getting us underway here. Just over 2.5 minutes to go in the session. Cars will begin to think about coming out of the pit lane any moment now. As we see a whole gaggle of cars coming out of the pit lane there as we go through the centre S's, through the curve of the Sol with Danny Connor and run down in towards the Cedar de Lago. Marginally up in the first sector, a little bit of a snap there, just clipping a little bit too much of the inside curve as we head up the hill now towards Ferrajula, and yep, Danny Connor losing quite a bit of momentum there and decides to black out the lap. Harry Cambo now through the centre S's. The Ferrari is of course going to be the lead car now, as I believe that's Wild is just beginning to get his lap underway as well. Through the Cedar de Lago goes Ferry Campbell, and marginally up as well in the first sector, which is good. This is where you really want to be gaining your time, right at the end of the session. Through the middle sector now goes Ferry Campbell, and now up towards turn number 10. Very difficult traction zone. You can get a little bit too greedy on traction here and they can absolutely chew you up and split you out. Through the left hander now in towards Jun Chao, as looks like Ferry Campbell does very well there. Ferry Campbell get himself up the order, as it looks like actually Wild did has done another lap and obviously came out in P3, but Ferry Campbell up to the line, P7, as we have a Red Bull coming up now, and I believe, yep, Rishi about to begin the lap. We do have a Alfa Romeo, but we also got the McLaren of Joan as he comes to the line. 10th improvement, and very good going from him, just ahead of his teammate Wildstorm, as I believe that was Matt just beginning his lap. Yes, it was. We have the Williams of Ivan beginning his lap. We have Jamie to the line. Jamie's not improving on his lap, but he is about to go again, so maybe doing an installation lap here, as Kgat is improving on his lap time. Jamie's actually retired from the session, and Ivan gets a 5-place quick penalty for collision with Jamie. So not sure what went on there, but Kgat improves up into P1. Danny Connor obviously not going to be improving. Ferry Campbell not improving. Finley 10th up in the middle sector, and loses it on the exit of Dunshao. Finley there losing it for ORT Esports. Rishi up to the line, goes up into P12. You've got Mackie in the middle sector. Ivan in the pits, he's retired from the session as you would expect. And obviously we'll be starting from the back. Matt 2 to the line right now. 3.5 seconds up on his lap time as he comes to the checker flag. And he's going to be moving up to P15. Not enough to get into the top 10, but struggles throughout qualifying there for Matt 2 for the QVR driver. And it just wasn't meant to be in qualifying. Mackie to the line. Impulse goes up into P12. Martin down on his time, and I think that is the final runner done in this session because Danny Connor's on a cooldown, and obviously Martin's not looking competitive on his lap time. So yeah, that is qualifying over and done with. So there we go. Here in Brazil is a CPI front row lockout. Kgat by 0.03 of a second gets ahead of his teammate Jamie, who joins him on the front row. So it is Kgat who is on pole position. Jamie, his teammate alongside him. ORT Esports Wild in P3 with Danny Connor in P4. P5 goes to QVR Verstappen with ORT Frank getting P6. Mustache for NLR Development in P7 with Ferry Campbell for ORT in P8. Finley for ORT Esports in P9 with Wildstorm for IRT in P10. Then outside of the top 10 we have Jonan, Maki, Rishi, Johan, Matsu, Martin, and I ran out of time, but I can quickly have a little look back on stream. And we can see as Martin, Paulie Orange, Ivan with our 5-place grid drop, and of course Gonza, who also failed to get a lap time, but he'll be starting ahead of Ivan, that is for sure. And of course, looking at what was going on, it looked like Ivan did spin through turn 1 and it caused a collision with Jamie, so that is a legit 5-place grid penalty. Sometimes the game does give unfair time penalties, but I believe that one, grid penalties, but I believe that one is correct, so we will be continuing on with no issues. By the way, guys, if this is your first time tuning into the ORT Esports Cup, my name is Michael Edwards. I am your lead commentator as we go to those 5 red lights. Lights out and we are underway here. 36 laps await these drivers. Kgat getting a good launch off the line. So has Jamie as Danny Connor down the inside of X Wild into turn 1 through the centre as they go. Wild able to hold on position there as QVR Verstappen just follows in behind, waiting for an opportunity. Frank in P6, Mustache in P7 with Ferry Campbell in P8 as Mackie gets through on the Invictus Racing Team driver down the inside in 2. To see the Delago, and of course Jonan absolutely falling down the order. Gonza having a fantastic start up into P12 here, but let's have a look at the tyre compounds as he's side by side with Rishi now through the middle sector. This is fantastic stuff between these two as Gonza down the inside again through turn 9 as you see Joan coming through. I'm saying his name wrong every time, I know I am, and I'm pronouncing it, I'm absolutely butchering it. I do apologise to the Invictus Racing Team driver, but I'm terrible with names, I really am, but there we go. That is how things are looking right now, as it looked like yeah, he might have heard me on stream saying about trying to pronounce his name, but yeah, he has lost it there as Kgat sets the fastest lap of the race, as you would expect here early on. But there is the tyre compounds, and of course a nice even split to say the least. The top 3 on the set of mediums, 4th through 6th on the set of hards. Wildstorm on the set of mediums, and then of course we got Moustache and Ferry Campbell side by side through the Cedar de Lago, and Moustache there up in the P8 on the set of hards, Ferry Campbell on the set of hards, Gonza on the set of mediums, and of course we got hards on Maki, Rishi and Johan, Paulie Orange on the set of mediums, Martin and Matsu on a set of hards, and of course we got Ivan on a set of mediums, and oh my god, Ivan completely locking up the rears there through that corner and absolutely losing the car. So there's a bit of ghosting going on by here. Paulie Orange ghosting and falling behind LRN Martin there, so potentially not in the session. We'll have to keep an eye on that as Wildstorm's off in the grass. He's gone sightseeing. Wildstorm around, and both Invictus Racing Team Esports drivers down towards the back. Finley also down towards the back as well, but lap number 3 DRS is enabled. Both CPI drivers have managed to pull out of that DRS range on Wild, so CPI looking very good early on, as they'll be able to DRS and tow each other away in this race, and Wild will have to contend with Danny Connor, Verstappen, Frank and Moustache as this race continues on. Gonza though, fantastic start from him from the back of the grid. He's already up into P8, looking very, very good as well, and obviously backing up Danny Connor in this race as well, so doing a fantastic job for the EPEC team. So Gonza doing fantastic right now. Moustache falling a little bit away from the battle for the final podium position, as Wild seems to be making a few mistakes there, and it's just allowing Danny Connor to stay with him here. As you see up ahead, Jamie taking the lead from KGAT with DRS, and of course you're seeing Danny Connor close in on Wild here for the final podium position. And oh, a big snap at the rear for Danny Connor through the centre S's, and that is not what you want to see if you are a fan of the EPEC team. As we go through the Cedar de Lago, and a 3-second time penalty has been picked up as well. Gonza there side by side with Moustache, getting the job done through the Cedar de Lago as we climb up the hill now towards Ferradura, and it looks like it is going to be Gonza holding on, but look at that, a little bit of a twitch at the back end there for Gonza, and fortunately for him, nothing horrible happened. So it looks like Matt has gone around Matt 2 for QVR down towards the back of the field. He's lost his car and he's now in last place, well and truly. Meanwhile, obviously with DRS, Wild for ORT Esports unable to pull the gap that he needs. He's getting reeled in by Danny Connor now. The EPEC driver closing in on the ORT Esports driver here is AlphaTauri versus Alfa Romeo for the final podium position. QVR Verstappen is just sitting there, he's waiting for an opportunity. ORT Frank doing his best to hold on, but he's just dipped outside of that 1 second window. And of course losing out on DRS is crucial around here, because now Gonza can come at him. Moustache is still holding on to the back of Gonza, so is Ferry Campbell, and of course Maki in the second NOR development Aston Martin car here. Rishi also just about holding on in the DRS, and so is both of the LRN drivers. So Jerome and Martin there in 12th and 13th. And we've got a bit of a gap back to Paulie Orange in 14th, who's under pressure from Ivan, but Ivan has picked up a 3-second time penalty. In fact, he's lost the car and needs to be careful, because if he the ESPL driver of Ivan, I don't think I don't want to say that was I don't think it was intentional, but it was very very naive of Ivan there. I mean, realistically, like, in my opinion, realistically, Ivan, what you want to do there, mate, is wait for the cars to pass you and then spin in the opposite direction to the wall, so you don't end up with that kind of mistake right there. But a lot of drivers have come into the pit lane. Obviously, Wild, Gonza, Mustache, Ferry Campbell, Rishi, Jerome, Paul the Orange, Wildstorm, Finley and Matt 2 all in the pits. Fresh set of boots on. Wildstorm did pick up a 3-second time penalty before the safety, well, actually just as the safety car came out. So Wildstorm for the Invictus Racing team, it's not looking good with that time penalty. It's not looking good at all. But the top 8 all stayed out, and this could be good and it could also be bad for these guys. I think for the CPI drivers, I think they were already past the pit lane entry and the safety car already was coming out, so they didn't want to double stack into the pits. But it could be a decent strategy for the CPI drivers staying out. We'll have to wait and see how it all plays out later on in the race. There could definitely be another safety car in this race that could nullify this safety car, but we'll have to wait and see about that. Lap 7 of 36. Jamie leads the way for CPI, joined following by his teammate Kagat, who joins him in P2. So it's a 1-2 for CPI right now. Danny Connor for EPEC in P3. And of course we got QVR Verstappen for the QVR team in P4. And of course P5 is ORT Frank for the ORT Esports team. And our development driver Mackie in P6 with LRN Esports Martin in P7. Right, let's take another stab at trying to pronounce this guy's name. Shall we take another stab, guys? I'm gonna absolutely, I'm bottling it. Pojonen, maybe. I don't know. Like I said, mate, I do apologise. I'm terrible when it comes to pronouncing names. Safety car is in this lap, but he's in P8, and of course we got the pit stops that came in from Wild, Gonza, Mustache, Ferry Campbell, Rishi, Jerome, Paulie Orange, Wildstorm, Finley, and Matt 2. But let's go up towards the front right now, and let's see when the CPI drivers get themselves underway in this race on this restart. As there we go, Jamie goes and he catches no one napping there, but look at this, Frank trying to make a move on QVR Verstappen around the outside of turn number 1 as we go into the centre S-race through turn 2. That's a poor camera angle there on the broadcast, but a little bit of contact there between the pair of them, locking wheels, but they remain side by side as they run down. And look at that, Martin, he's going to make a free wide into the Cedar de Lago, and this is not going to work out. Someone needs to back out here, and my god, they just about make it through without major calamities. But I believe Frank went completely off track, but he's still side by side as they come out through Ferrajula here, and Martin there up into P5 as yellow flag is out, as I believe potentially front wing damage. Yeah, and there is front wing damage on Mustache there in P11. I'm going to drop down Yoda with that lack of downforce now. Back up towards this battle for P5, of course, with Verstappen, Martin and Frank battling with each other. It's meant that the top 3 have managed to get away, and of course the CPI drivers are over a second clear of Danny Connor here. And look at this, Gonza around the outside of Frank through turn 1. Will he be able to hold it for turn 2? And now around the outside. Oh my god, here we go, Frank coming back on track. Quite interesting contact there as Rishi goes into the wall out of this race, and that is a second safety car in this race. My god, you just knew it was going to happen. I think a little bit of contact between Frank and Gonza unsettled Frank's car and sent him straight into Rishi. Rishi got absolutely launched into the wall there, and heartbreak there for Rishi. Of course, the DKMN Esports driver, and from what I know, this is his last race for DKMN. So absolutely horrible way for him to go out in terms of racing for the DKMN Esports team with a DNF, but absolutely nothing he could do about that, and it is what it is. And this is going to be absolutely heartbreaking for Rishi here, but safety car is out again, and we shall see some pit stops begin to happen for those who didn't make their pit stops early on. Martin with a 5-second time penalty coming into the pit lane, did try, I believe, to overtake Kvyat Verstappen into the pits. Didn't work out for him, so he does pick up a 5-second time penalty, as these guys now put on a fresh set of boots to go back out there again and actually see if they can get themselves through the pack ahead. So two drivers yet to make a pit stop, and that is Kvyat and Danny Connor. Both stayed out, both on the tyres that they started on. Kvyat 9-lap old medium compound tyres, and of course Danny Connor on 9-lap old hard compound tyres. Lap 10 of 36. We are under safety car conditions for the second time in this race. Kvyat and Danny Connor, they do lead the pack, but they are yet to make a pit stop. Everyone else on the field has made a pit stop. Let's have a look at the time penalty situation. 5 seconds for Martin, 3 seconds for Wildstorm. So there we go. For any engineers in the chat or in the stream, I tell you what, EPEC right now, currently in a decent position. Gonza has made a pit stop. He's on a set of hards. They're 5 laps old. Potentially, they could get to the end of the race. Obviously, they're not going to be very quick at the end of the race, so you might be thinking about another pit stop. But Gonza right now in a very good position. His teammate directly in front of him as well. Also going long in this race on the set of hards. Gonna see how they get on. Kvyat though leads the way. Safety car should be in at the end of this lap. Yes, it is. Safety car is in now. Kvyat will control the pace, backs up the pack, and now it is all going to be about, are these guys going to be alert for this restart here? And Kvyat's gone, and he's absolutely caught Danny Connor napping there on the restart. Kvyat again, a fantastic launch on this restart. Danny Connor will be miles behind the CPI driver as Jerome closed up to the back of Ferry Campo there, but doesn't want to make the overtake early on as Jamie's trying to get through on these guys up ahead. He's on a set of hard tyres and trying his best to get the order, as there we go. There's the switch between the EPEC drivers as Gonza now up into P2, Danny Connor down into P3. Good work from the EPEC Esports team. There's some discussions going on in the chat right now, as you see Finley there sending one down the inside of poorly Orange, and Jamie's going to have to pick his opportunity here. Oh, getting very close to the back of the Red Bull. Doesn't want to risk going for it yet. Obviously poorly Orange, the last remaining DKMN driver in this race. Rishi, of course, out of this race after a bit of contact, which led Frank to go straight into Rishi, and Rishi, absolutely nothing he could do about it. He just was a passenger. As Jerome gets through on Ferry Campbell, as Wild is all over the back of Danny Connor, using a bit of that battery. Don't look at the outside for Casita Delago, and is this going to work out for the ORT Esports driver all the way around the outside? Surely not, as we climb up the hill now towards the Ferradura, and yeah, it is going to be P3 for X Wild in this race. And now, I believe at this point we should be seeing the medium tyres of K-Gap begin to fall away somewhat. As X Wild closing up, not quite close enough yet to be within DRS range, but a good run out of Jing Chao, and it could be looking good for him. Of course, DRS will be activated on this following lap right now, as Gonza looks for the race lead here down in towards turn number 1 on lap 14. Down the inside he goes, and it is job done. Gonza up into the race lead, but K-Gap will have an opportunity to come back and with DRS if he so chooses. And I don't think he will choose, but look at that, Matt trying to get through on Danny Connor. Matt 2 up into P5 for QVR, and of course it's been a horrible race so far for Matt, but he's doing an absolutely fantastic job in recovering. You see his teammate down there in the back trying to go side by side with Ferry Campbell around the outside, and a virtual safety car is out for, I believe that's Mustache who's gone around. So yeah, Mustache triggering a virtual safety car. So lap 14 we've had 2 full course safety cars and of course a virtual safety car now. The first safety car, of course, triggered by Ivan trying to get his car turned around, and it wasn't the right direction to try and get the car turned around, and he went into the wall, lost his front wheel, and was out of this race. And that triggered the first safety car. The second safety car, of course, was triggered when Frank and Rishi made a bit of contact, and Rishi just got absolutely sent into the wall. I believe if I have a little peek back on the stream, I can have a better understanding of what was going on, and we will see right now, as I do have the stream open. Virtual safety car should be ending any moment now, as I believe yeah, Frank and Gonza were side by side, a little bit of contact between them, and that sent Rishi into the wall and of course out of this race. So not good there for Rishi. Virtual safety car has ended now, so we are back racing once again. Wild with a decent restock and back within the 1 second window of K-Gap, which is important for him. And K-Gap now all over the back of Gonza for the race lead, as Danny Connor continues to fall through the field. But of course Finley is putting Danny Connor under a bit of pressure here. Under the cosh is Danny Connor here, as the ORT Esports driver uses a bit of battery now on DRS, and of course going to try and get alongside, as you see QVR Verstappen getting through on Ferry Campbell in behind, and getting very close to the back of Matt towards Finley. And now look at Jamie. Jamie's trying to find a way through here as well. Could potentially be looking to go through, and yeah, Danny Connor, absolutely nothing he can do about it. Verstappen gets through as well. Verstappen on the inside of CPI Jamie, and just wasn't meant to be there for Verstappen, but great opportunistic move from QVR Verstappen to get through on Danny Connor there. Fantastic manoeuvring from QVR Verstappen. still all over the back of Jamie here for P7. K-Gat doing a very good job so far, staying out on those medium tyres. Hasn't lost a huge amount of time and positions in this race so far, but you gotta think the medium tyres are approaching the end of their usable life, and of course that means that he will begin to fall away from Gonza and fall back into the clutches of X-Wild, Jerome, Matsu, Finley, Jamie, Verstappen. And so as Danny Connor continues to fall through the field, those 16 lap old hard tyres are not the tyres to be on right now. Lap 17 of 36, Gonza leads the way. K-Gat in second place, Wild in third, Jerome in P4, Matsu in P5, Finley in P6, and Jamie in P7 with Verstappen in P8. Then of course we got the ORT pairing of Frank and Ferry Campo rounding out the top 10. Then of course we got Poljan in P11. I'm saying his name different every single time, I know I am, and I can only apologise, but he's in P11. And of course Danny Connor in P12, Paulie Orange in P13 with Mackie in 14th, of course Wildstorm in 15th, then of course we've got Mustache in 16th and Martin in 17th down towards the back of the field. And that is Wildstorm around through John Chow, and that is both Jamie and Verstappen through us. It's going to be free wide coming into turn 1, as it looks like it's going to be, is Verstappen, was that contact into turn 1 or was that a rear lock-in? I'm not sure, but Kvyat Verstappen goes straight on there, and that allows Jamie to get through uncontested. Obviously Matt now getting through on, Frank getting through on Matt. Wildstorm retires from the race, and that has triggered a full course safety car here. I want to see exactly where I am going to do some investigating here, as Wildstorm out of this race, and heartbreak for him and the Invictus Racing team. That is a third safety car in this race now. And it looks like Wildstorm got onto the curves through turn 2 and he's out of this race. We are here on lap 18, about to begin lap 19, and we have a third safety car in this race. In fact, I believe lap 19 we're about to jump onto. And everyone is coming into the pits for a fresh set of tyres. I think Finley will stay out. Mustache will definitely come in, and I think Martin potentially will just stay out on those tyres because they are only 3 laps old. But we will see some double stacking going on, but it hasn't affected many drivers. Matt has come back out on worn hard tyres. Of course, don't think he had a fresh set of mediums available to him. Kvyat Verstappen going for a set of the soft compound tyres. It's a bold strategy from Kvyat Verstappen. Of course, he's down in P13. It's going to be a very bold strategy if he can get his way through the field and to the front end. Danny Connor now on fresh tyres in P12, but this is where things get interesting. K-Gat, he had to make a pit stop right there, but he's on a set of hards and everyone around him is on softer compounded tyres. The CPI driver could be vulnerable in this race. Could absolutely be vulnerable in this race, could the CPI driver, as he does have Wild on fresh mediums, Jerome on fresh mediums, Frank on fresh mediums, and of course then obviously Matt is on worn hard, so he shouldn't have too much trouble with Matt here. But then of course you got Jamie, Poljan, Ferry Campo, Mackie, Paulie Orange, Danny Connor on mediums, Verstappen on soft tyres, and of course we got Martin on 4 lap old medium tyres. We got Finley on 12 lap old medium tyres. Should probably come into the pits and put on a different set of tyres. And yeah, he's coming in. So Finley will be down to the back of the field. Let's see what tyres does the ORT Esports driver go for. And it is fresh mediums for Finley in this race. The third safety car of the race. Of course, we have had a virtual safety car as well. We're on lap 20 of 36. Gonza for EPEC leads the way. Then, of course, we've got KGAT for CPI, who is in second place. And ORT Esports is Wild in P3. Jerome for LRN in P4 with ORT Frank in P5. QVR's Matsu in P6. CPI Jamie in P7. Invictus Racing Team's Poljan in P8. Ferry Campo for ORT in P9. And of course NLR Development driver Maki in P10. Paulie Orange for DKMN Esports in P11. Danny Connor for EPEC in P12. QVR Verstappen for QVR in P13. Aaron Martin in P14. Mustache for NLR Development in P15. And of course ORT Esports driver Finley in 16th place. So now it is Gonza who controls the pace for the restart. For the first time in this race, it is not a CPI driver on the restart here. As Gonza is going to have to time this to perfection. He's leaving it late, and there he goes. He has gone right there, and he does get a little bit of a gap to KGAT as we got Ferry Cambo and Maki into the pits. Maybe a little bit of contact under the safety car conditions. Look at that. Matsu and Jamie there side by side. Martin picks up a 3-second time penalty down there in P12 as CPI driver really trying to get this move done on the QVR driver, but it is not working out for him. Verstappen up in the P10 on those soft tyres. Let's keep an eye on the QVR driver, because he is on the soft tyres. He will fly early in this race, but the question will be, will those tyres get to the end in good nick? Look at that, CPI Jamie down the inside of Matsu, and Matt just doesn't have the grip to compete here. Around the outside goes Jamie, job done, and he can now go hunting after ORT Frank. As Danny Connor gets through on Paulie Orange there, as we head into Jun Chao as they all line astern now. Danny Connor up into the up into P10. QVR Verstappen making moves here as he is trying to get himself up the order as he goes through on both Matt and trying to get through on Porsche as well. As he'll probably have a look down the inside here on those soft tyres. Yes, he has the grip. He's got the brake in there. And Porsche there has to concede the position. And that is not what Invictus Racing Team would have wanted to see, but look at that as Matt was trying to potentially get into the slipstream of the Invictus Racing driver, but unfortunately Danny Connor was already in the slipstream. But Danny Connor now essentially going to try to have a little look here in towards turn number 8 as down the inside goes Danny Connor. This could be a job done. It'll turn to the outside for turn number 9. And they keep it clean. Danny Connor up in the P9. Good move there from Danny Connor. But QVR Verstappen on those soft tyres, absolutely charging up the field now. And he's just outside that DRS zone. Purple middle sector for the QVR driver, as you would expect on the soft compound tyres. And this is all going to be about the center S's now, because I believe DRS should be enabled this lap, and it is, as Verstappen crosses the line. Is not the fastest lap of the race, but look at that, Jamie down the inside of Frank into turn 1, and I believe that might have just given Verstappen the DRS, and it has. So that overtake there between Jamie and Frank was what brought Verstappen into DRS range, and now we have a DRS string covering the top 6, but of course Verstappen on those soft tyres, you would think he'd get well within a second now coming through this middle sector. So let's see, yep, here we go. There's just a grip on those soft tyres, allowing the QVR driver to close up here, and actually, there we go. There we go. The middle sector is where he's going to find the time versus these guys in front of him. And of course we've got a gap back as Danny Connor now 2 seconds off the back of QVR. Verstappen does have the ability to overtake Poulsen here with DRS. As Paulie Orange is right in the mix as well. DRS wide open now for Danny Connor. Danny Connor is going to make this move down the inside in towards turn number 1. Job done. Paulie Orange will have to settle in behind for the time being, but could get a good run here out of the centre through the Kivot de Sol and on to the DRS straight, but not meant to be. Danny Connor holds on to P8, and now we should probably see Danny Connor try to pull away here. Danny Connor definitely looks like the quicker of the 2 drivers, so I think Danny Connor should be looking pretty decent. As Jamie there, a little bit unsettled, just a little bit unsettling. Jerome there, Jerome goes deep, and that of course opens the door for Jamie to just come through and take P4 away from Jerome. So Jerome just getting a little bit nervy with Jamie in behind, and Jamie takes advantage of that. Up into P4 goes the CPI driver. Lap 24 of 36. Gonza still leads the way. Kgat in P2 with Wild in P3, but Jamie now up into P4. Jerome in P5. Frank looking to get the move done on the LRN driver, and around the outside goes Frank, but Jerome's going to try and keep his nose in there. He's going to try and battle it, look for a tighter line through turn 2, now through the Kivot de Sol. He's going to have a little bit of the run, and you can see the flash of red light there saying that Frank has less than 10% ERS, but as you can see, so does Jerome. As QVR Verstappen also trying to close up as well. Danny Connor has managed to pull a bit of a gap as Paulie Orange gets through on Poulsen in P9 and 10. Moustache there in the back as well, trying to get some points for NLR development, as unfortunately his teammate all the way down in P15 looked like he's had an incident, and of course was had to come in and put on a fresh set of tyres. But look at Moustache here, has a little look down the inside into turn 10. That is a lunge, but Moustache does get this slowed down under braking, but look at that snap through turn 11. That allows Finley to go down the inside in towards Jun Chao, and of course now they climb up the hill. The ORT Esports driver does get through up into PLF, and of course DRS will be activated for everyone, but back up towards the front. Kgat has a little peek down the inside of Gonza, and Gonza holds on, but this is where things are going to get spicy now, because now Kgat looks like he's trying to make this move stick. As here goes, oh my god, Jamie coming through as well on the outside. I didn't think Wild was going to be overtaken by Jamie, but Jamie there getting through up in the P3 goes the second of the CPI driver, so it's a double CPI podium right now. Kgat and Jamie. Wild there absolutely just conceding position there on Jamie, coming through in towards the Cida de Lago, and yeah, that is unfortunate there for Wild, but maybe thinking that it's more prudent to not battle Jamie for the time being. We have to wait and see. Lap 26 about to begin lap 27, as we'll only have 10 more laps in this race to go. Kgat just flies through with DRS as you would expect, and those hard tyres by the end of the race should become the better tyre, so Kgat getting through now is quite important, but we'll have to see if he can hold on to the race lead, because DRS will give Gonza a chance to come back here into the Cida de Lago, but he's not going to go for a move thus far. Now Jamie it's going to be looking to try and get through on Gonza, and I think Kgat here might be able to help out his teammate by potentially backing up, and Verstappen's around through Ferragula, and heartbreak for the QVR team. Both of their drivers down outside of the top 10. Absolute heartbreak as Verstappen and Matsu down in P12 and P14 respectfully. But the good news for Verstappen is that obviously the two guys in front of him do have time penalty, so he will jump up ahead of them as long as he can keep it penalty free. Back up to the front though, Gonza is in a CPI sandwich right now. And he's not going to go for the overtake on Kgat. Might be just looking to save up the battery. Of course, everyone here kind of even on their battery usage so far, as Danny Conner with a 3-second time penalty. Not good for the EPEC driver. Of course, currently in P7, trying to get away from Paulie Orange. Paulie Orange, though, is going to make a move. And, actually, decided to break a bit earlier going into the Ciudad del Lago there from Paulie Orange. But he was placed on the inside, ready to go for the overtake. Back up towards the front, though. CPI Jamie is now sniffing opportunities to try and get an overtake down on Gonza here. And I think if Jamie gets through on Gonza, Kgat will probably let Jamie through, being that he is on the quicker tyre as it currently stands. And he'll just be happy to get towed along by his teammate until the hards become the better tyre. But here we go now, the run down into turn number 1, into the centre S's. There goes Gonza down the inside of Kgat. And, Jamie and Kgat there almost getting tangled up with each other. And that will just draw the likes of Wild, Frank and Jerome back a little bit closer to the front three. And, Kgat there almost going into the back of Gonza. So, potentially, we could be seeing Gonza try to back up the CPI drivers here. Potentially. I mean, I haven't quite decided yet, but Kgat there getting a little bit too close on the braking for my liking. I think even if Kgat's outbroken himself slightly, or Gonza is just broken a little bit earlier than what he usually does, but as it currently stands, Gonza leads the way, and Kgat could potentially just re-overtake him here with DRS, as he does have it open. He's into the slipstream. Yeah, it's going to be dropped down. Back through on Gonza goes Kgat, and he is back up into the race lead. Lap 30 of 36 now. As Danny Conner gets through on Paulie Orange. These guys are going to be trading positions for the rest of the race, that is for sure. As Paulie Orange now around the outside. DRS, no contest. Thank you very much. I'll take P7. The DKMN driver back up in position. Danny Conner, though, does not need to be fighting with Paulie Orange. He has a 3-second time penalty. Finley's only 2 seconds behind. So Finley could be jumping Danny Conner here, as the top 6 are bunching up once again. Of course, looking at the ERS usage of everyone, obviously Jerome has used the most right now, currently on less than 25, just hitting 25% right now, but Jerome with 0.25% of his battery. Frank on 40%, Wild on 40%, 60% for Jamie, 40% for Gonza, and of course 70% for Kgat here. So the CPI drivers are in a fantastic position. They do have the most ERS available to them, so they should be looking pretty in this race for when they want to push at the end. Gonza, though, needs to make sure that he is ahead of Kgat at the most crucial point. And a little bit of contact there as Kgat comes back across there to take the racing line, as Gonza wasn't quite close enough, but a little bit of contact on the rear. And Gonza, I don't believe has picked up wing damage from that, but that could have easily been a bit of wing damage here for the EPEC driver. Now this man by here, X Wild, could potentially catch one of these guys up ahead napping here. We're going to have to wait and see, but Jamie now absolutely pushing Gonza through John Chow there, and also climbing up the hill. Gonza has used a bit of battery to get away, and what we're seeing now is Jamie and Gonza use a bit of battery, and they're getting kind of level with Wild's deployment here. And Gonza's actually used a bit more. Jerome out of this race as he has left the session, and he'll fall down the order now, as his car will just not have the pace of everyone else around, and he will fall well down. Thank God he's back in the session. Back in the session. I thought it was all game over for Jerome, but this means he is no longer in contention for a podium position here. Jerome, of course, will have to rejoin, and he will rejoin in P6 still, which he'll be happy about, but he'll be so far off the back of the top 5 now, it's going to be a heartbreak for him. Oh, contact as Jamie goes in the back of Gonza. Gonza around. Oh, no. Jamie into the back of Gonza. That is heartbreak for the EPEC driver, and he's falling back to Jerome. Remember, Jerome just got disconnected from the session. That's how much time he's lost. As Jamie's going to go through now into the racing, the head of KGAT. And I think the CPI drivers are now going to try and work together to break DRS on Wild here. But I have a feeling that move right there could be reported as Jamie goes straight into the back of Gonza, tagging the EPEC driver around, and obviously out of a potential race winning position, he falls all the way down to P6, and he will be battling with Jerome for P5, but I mean, Wild now in position, and he's trying to go around the outside of KGAT here, as we got a battle between Paulie Orange and Finley that was brewing up there, and Finley getting through up into P8 there. And KGAT backing up the pack, and Mustache is out of this race, and that's a safety car. That is a safety car on lap 33. Heartbreak for Danny Connor, for Pojan, and for Martin, because their time penalties are absolutely going to ruin them now. And whatever the strategy was, as Matsu picks up a drive-through penalty, oh, absolute heartbreak for him, as KGAT, Jerome and Gonza into the pits for a set of soft tyres. That is for sure. Finley continues on, he's up into P4, Paulie Orange up into P5. Matt, I think Matt might just retire from the race here. Yep. Understandable there for Matt with the drive through this late on in the race. Well, I tell you what, this is going to be an interesting final 2 laps here, because of course the safety car, it has to come in this lap. It has to come in this lap. Some of these guys are not going to catch up to the back of the pack. So, I mean, KGAT will, Jerome will, Gonza will, and now this is going to be interesting. Verstappen, is Verstappen going to catch up to the pack? I mean, Danny Connor might just about do it. When does Jamie go? Jamie's gone. Jamie's gone. Verstappen. Oh, let's look at that. Finley's around. Finley's around on the restart. All eyes now on KGAT, Jerome, Gonza, as Gonza there gets through on Jerome up into P6 goes Gonza, as he's going to go clean around the outside now of Paulie Orange, as KGAT gets through as well. In fact, Paulie Orange is going to try and fight this here. And of course, he has every right to, but the tyre compounds are going to be absolutely horrendous. And Gonza can't get through, but he has the grip. And look at that. Gonza now up into P5 as Jamie does a very, very well on the restart. Does get himself a second clear of Frank as we see yellow flags in the back, and that is Verstappen who's around. And heartbreak there for him. And look at this now. Kagat is going to send one down the inside. Oh, absolutely bold and brave from the CPI driver. He has to commit to these overtakes now. Absolutely he does. As now it's Wild, and yeah, he's just going to cleanly overtake the ORT Esports driver here. But I think Wild might use a bit of battery to try and come back at Kagat here, but Kagat, nah, there's no chance. Kagat with the fastest lap of the race. Oh, contact! Was that Gonza or was that Frank? Someone goes straight into the back of Wild and cost him massively there. Danny Connor doesn't look like he's got a front right end plate. So Danny Connor without a front wing for the most part, and Gonza is okay with his front wing. What about Frank? What's Frank's front wing looking like? It's looking intact, so maybe it was Danny Connor that went into the back, but surely not, as Wild gets overtaken by Gonza, and Wild's back down the inside of Danny Connor. Obviously Danny Connor with the front wing damage being negated right now by the grip of the soft tyres. But this race as Kagat backing up the pack so Jamie can have a big enough gap at the front. So I think they are predicting a penalty for Jamie, obviously if it gets reported. And yeah, trying to give him a big enough gap as possible to make sure he doesn't fall that far down the order. Teamwork strategy right there between Jamie and Kagat, but Gonza does complete the podium. Frank in P4, only just missing out on the podium by less than a tenth of a second. Wild in P5 with Jerome in P6. Danny Connor just come through in P7 with Paulie Orange in P8. Pojan in P9 and Martin rounds out the top 10. Verstappen, what could have been for him in this race, down in P11. Same with Finley as well. Obviously losing it on the restart. Mackie in P13, and of course Ferry Campo comes through in P14, the last of the finishers. Wow. Gonza gets driver of the day, and honestly, I kind of have to agree with it. Gonza deserves driver of the day, in my opinion. Absolutely fantastic drive. From the back of the field, he came through, got himself a podium. He was in contention for the race win. Did get a little bit of got tagged around by Jamie early in the race, but then of course safety car came out at the end, and him along with Kagat pitting for soft tyres allowed the pair of them to really carve their way through the field at the end, and of course gets a podium position out of it. And of course it's a good podium for Gonza, and of course CPI teamwork at the end did come into play. It looked like Kagat was backing up the pack to make sure that Jamie could get enough of a gap to mitigate any position drops with post-race penalties. But we'll run you through the order one more time. It is Jamie who takes victory ahead of K-Cat, so it's a CPI 1-2. Gonza for EPAC in P3, ORT Frank in P4, with Wild for ORT Esports in P5. LRN Jerome in P6 with Danny Connor for P7. P8 goes to Paulie Orange with Pojan in P9 and Martin rounding out the top 10. QVR Verstappen in 11th place with Finley in 12th, Mackie in 13th and Ferry Campo in 14th. Now non-finishers were Matu, Mustache, Wildstorm, Rishi and Ivan, who are of course out of this race, and heartbreak for those drivers. But that of course brings an end to round number 6 here in the ORT Esports Cup. Of course, there will be no race next week. We do have a week break, and we will be back for round number 7 at the Mexican Grand Prix before we head to the season finale at Suzuka. So, guys, make sure you keep up to date with everything that is going on here in the ORT Esports Cup, and obviously that would be through Twitter or X or whatever it's called these days. I believe it's called X, and yeah, it's called X. But yeah, make sure you guys keep up to date with everything that is going on through there, and of course you can do that by following the ORT account, and that is of course ORT_F1 on X. Make sure you guys keep up to date, because that is where all announcements and everything will come from. Of course, I will be back in 2 weeks time. I'd like to thank everyone who did tune in tonight. My driver of the day goes to Gonza. Absolutely incredible drive. CPI teamwork at the end, and obviously that's great teamwork from the pair of them. They did manage to cross the line in first and second, but will Stewart in knock Jamie off the podium? That is going to be the question. But until then, guys, I have been Michael Edwards. We'll catch you in a fortnight time as we head to round number 7 at the Mexican Grand Prix. Until then, guys, it is goodbye and good night from me. Goodbye.